All right. Good evening. Good evening. It's good to see everybody tonight. We'll let everybody make their way in. Hope everyone is doing well. Everybody hear me? Everybody good? Okay, good. I can never tell up here how it sounds out there. So, hope everyone is doing well after eating a great meal and fellowshipping tonight. Couple things before we go over what we'll be doing the next couple weeks. Couple announcements. On Saturday, August 15th at 6:30, which is this Saturday, Vaughn Park will host a dinner portion of Faulkner's Progressive Dinner, which is hosting. We do this every year, but we get the dinner portion this year of hosting the Progressive Dinner of all the students that come back to Faulkner. And so we're asking to help make this a great first impression by welcoming it's all the new freshmen for the evening for food and fellowship. And I think in the past we got the salad portion. So who wants to come eat? Freshmen want to eat salad, but we actually have the dinner portion this year. And so if you'd like to serve that evening and come be a part of that, if you'll please see Jace and contact him, then he will be able to give you more information on that before Saturday. So if you'd like to come help serve some food or just come encourage the ones that are here, please see Jace for that. But then on this Sunday, he is asking everybody to wear their favorite college colors, which is mine and Roxy's color, red and black. So if you will come and wear red and black, just kidding. Wear your favorite college colors as we officially welcome students at Vaughn Park. And it's just support of them. He's asking for all of us to do that if you're willing to do that as well. Also, after worship on August 16th, which is this Sunday, the Heart Ministry will host the college students for a potluck lunch. And so please sign up in the lobby and bring a dish to help feed those college students. Also, we're getting ready for our revamp our communities. We're getting to the end of our summer. August 26th, we're going to be having what we're calling a celebration night. And so that night we're just going to be looking at things we've done throughout the summer and this on Wednesday nights, but also just things that have happened over the summer at Vaughn Park. And so we're going to be able to share. Some people are going to be sharing and also come and ready to share if you'd like to. And so we're going to have different things, prompts and things that night. But then what everybody's going to come for is the homemade ice cream after our worship. So if you know how to make homemade ice cream, please bring your favorite homemade ice cream on August 26th, and we'll have it set up right after class, and we'll celebrate and be together on that night. And so this whole summer was celebrating or talking about our community. And so, but next week, it was supposed to be this week, but next week, me and Casey are going to be talking about kind of our testimony here and talking about ministry, but also just our lives and things like that. So next week, make your plans to go somewhere else. I'm just kidding. No. If you would like to come, please come and hear that. Hopefully it'll be good. It won't be nearly as good as the other ones, but it will be something that maybe we could share and inspire some people with in our journey. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. We need more than a dish, so bring a lot. So as much as you can if you plan to come. So and so one of the reasons why we didn't we were supposed to do this tonight, but Casey's grandfather, some of you may know him, his name was Kenneth Crosby. He passed away today. And so we knew that was coming, and so we just didn't want to do that this week, and so we will do that next week. But we don't know any arrangements for that. He passed away this afternoon, and so just keep her family and the Crosby family in your prayers during that time. So tonight was kind of a pivot. So we're going to talk about something that I hope will kind of get us into a mindset of something that I want to try to introduce this fall. And so I'm calling this class tonight Known. And the reason I want to talk about this is and I want to get your input on some of these things. But who wants to be known? Anybody? Do you want to be known? You see, you don't want to admit it. Here's the thing: you don't need to know everybody. You don't need everybody to know you, okay? But everybody needs somebody who knows them. That makes sense? Let me read that again. And let me read it so I don't mess it up. You don't need everybody to know you. So when I ask you want to be known, yeah, all of us want to be known. Some of us want to be known more than others, right? But you don't need everybody to know you, but everybody needs someone to know them. And sometimes, especially in the church, especially this size, it's easy for that not to happen. And so what I'm going to be encouraging this fall, especially on Wednesday nights, is for some of this to happen. And so we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But I want to show a video, and I don't think it's going to work. But we're going to try it. I can't get the speakers to work, so I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to set it up for a second, and if not, I'll just talk about it. Has anybody heard of, it's a short film, it's called The Butterfly Circus. Anybody seen that before? Okay. So there's a real man that was born without arms or legs. Okay. There's been several people like that, obviously, but this was a real actor that was born without arms and legs, and he plays a role of a guy in this short film with no arms and no legs. And it talks about this same thing, that he wants to be known just by somebody, but he's been overlooked his whole life. And so I'm going to try to play this video. It's about 13 minutes, but I really think it would get the point across. And so I'm going to try to play it real quick. And if we can't hear it, if you in the back cannot hear it, we're just not going to play it. But I want to make sure everybody can hear it. If not, we will, let's see. No, I'm trying to find my, anybody hear it? No. Can y'all hear it over there in the back? No. I'm trying to. Y'all hear it? No. Right. No. Okay. We're not going to do it. Nobody can hear it. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. If you have time during the week, if you have time, was my microphone on? It could have been the microphone wasn't on. That could have been it. All right, let's try it again. Sorry about this technical difficulty. Anybody? I don't know where my speakers are. Can y'all hear it back there? You can? Okay. They said yes. Okay. All right. I don't think we can. Okay. All right. We can't hear it. We're good. I'm not going to play it for 13 minutes. It's all good. Okay. All right. So if you have time during the week, go look up on YouTube. It's called The Butterfly Circus. And so what this story is about is this man that was born without arms or legs, and he was wanting to be a part of something, and so he went to this. It was basically a small town circus, and he went in and he was wanting to actually make some money and to be known. And so he comes in and said, hey, can I be a part of the circus? Well, this was just this run-of-the-mill circus. And he goes in, and the guy puts him behind a curtain. And basically what he did was he charged people to make fun of it, is what happened. So he would say, look at the person that God turned his back upon. And he would open up the curtain, and these kids and these people would throw tomatoes at him and throw these things at him, and it was awful. And you'll see this in the video. But then one day, this other guy comes, and he's dressed like a ringmaster would. And this guy that had no arms and legs had been doing this, but he had to do it to make a living. He had to do it to be known, some form. And this ringmaster comes along, and he opens up the curtain, and he says, magnificent. Look at this guy. But the guy with no arms and legs, his name was Will, he had been so torn down and so manipulated and so in shame for so long that when this ringmaster that was actually admiring him and saying, hey, I know what you're going through, Will spit on him. Because he was admiring him. And the guy next to him said, do you know who you just spit on? That is the ringmaster for the Butterfly Circus. One of the best known circus in the world, according to this film. So he felt bad. He's like, what did I just do? Well, later on, we see that he sneaks onto this guy's truck somehow and rides with him. And what happens is he goes and visits this Butterfly Circus. And this ringmaster finds him in the back of his truck and talks to him and goes, hey, I was trying to get you to become part of this family. And he's like, well, I can't really do anything. He says, well, what you can do, I'm going to show you. And he showed him this trick of what he could do, even without arms or legs. He showed him that he had value. And he saw all these amazing artistic people, all these people that could walk on trapeze. What is it? Tightrope. Trapeze artist? Is that what it's called? Anyway, yeah, something like that. And so he saw all this and saw people that were doing all these amazing tricks and all these things that people in the circus do. And he's like, well, I can't do that. And he's like, you don't have to do that. You're a part of this family now. You can do this. But what he out as you watching this video, that everybody that this ringmaster went and picked out that could do all these amazing things came from a background just like him. Came from a place that nobody wanted them. Came from a place that there was one guy that was a drunk that nobody wanted. There was one woman that was living a life that she was selling herself. There was another guy that was kicked out of his home. There was all these people at the moment looked like they had it all together. But he showed them all these people came from broken places. But now we're part of this circus together and this well-known thing. And it's a wonderful video if you go watch it. It's called The Butterfly Circus. I hope you do that. But what I wanted to get out of this tonight is that each and every one of us have a place. And each and every one of us needs someone to know us. But are we willing to do that? Because what's easy to do is that we were created for connection. Okay? We were created for connections. In Genesis chapter 2, in verse 18, it says, it is not good that man should be what? Alone. Okay? So the immediate context there is what? What do we take that immediate context there for? Yeah, companionship or marriage, right? So we use that verse a lot of times in the context, immediate context is marriage, but the passage there is also reveals something more fundamental about humanity. Right? It's that we are all created to be in some relationship. Okay? In some type of relationship. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, one of my favorite verses in the Old Testament, it says, 2 are better than 1, for if one fall, one will lift the other up. But at the end of that, we don't stop there, but it says a threefold cord is not easily broken. And so there's this relationship that we have with one another, but also with God. But when we're together, how hard is it to break? Hard. And so one thing that is sometimes hard is when we get into a place of a large size of people. Sometimes that connection is built. Okay, what are some ways that we connect here at Vaughn Park? Just blurt it out. What ways that you find that you connect here? Okay, through worship. Okay, small groups, this is part of this, was I'm trying to connect. We'll talk about that at the end. If you haven't seen already, I'm trying to. Okay, small groups is one. Okay, the journey. Okay, ladies' Bible class. Yeah, Mondays and on Wednesday night. Anybody else? Any kind of fellowship. The Wednesday night meal. Okay. Bridge. Yeah. I tried to join it, but they wouldn't let me. I'm just kidding. They'd beat me. So. What else? Where have you found connection? Okay, yeah, Wednesday night meal. Okay. Mexico trip. Good. Okay, good. Maybe you're hearing this for the first time, like, man, I'd like to be a part of that. Every one of us needs to find some type of connection here, but here's the thing, that there are people that aren't getting that. There are some people that have not been connected yet. And some of that is not. It's a two-way road there, right? You have to want connection first, and seek. Maybe you need to seek out connection, but also I think there's an aspect to us as a church to help provide that connection as well, and to allow people to know that you can come and be a part. But we also got to create opportunities for that, and so why people, let me ask this question, why do sometimes people resisting needing other people? Yeah, pride. Insecurity. Okay, yeah. Bashful. Okay. Maybe it's been you have past hurts. In that if we'd have watched that video, this guy that had been through all this had some past hurt, and somebody was actually reaching out to him. And in this video, this ringmaster to me represents God, represents Christ. But sometimes people will reject that because they've been hurt for so long. And we have to recognize that there's been people that have been hurt. And finding ways that we can still bring them in. And so, correct. That's right. And that is a problem, because you got to find out about how do you. When we started this, we talked about everybody was created for relationship. To find out about somebody, you have to form a relationship with them in some form or fashion. And how do you do that? How do you form a relationship with someone? Okay, all right. That's harsh, but yes, show you're not a gossip. Yeah. To have trust there. Yeah, you're right. What'd you say, Kurt? Yep, one-on-one time. Okay. Smaller setting. Small group. I'm going to say it again, but we'll say it then again. But you got to have this connection. And so maybe it's pride, maybe it's hurt, but also maybe it's just, I'm just too busy. Right? I'm just too busy. That's one that plagues us. I heard a preacher say it the other day, if the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. I'm a good person. Yeah, well, I'm a great person. Well, where's your time? The devil won't make you bad, he'll make you busy. I thought that was a really good phrase. Because none of us say, well, I'm not a bad person. But am I spending time connecting with people and allowing myself to be available through that? And so I think we'll talk a little bit more about discipleship at the end. But people are needing this, but there's barriers, right? There's been barriers for years and years and years. But maybe another thing that hinders people is vulnerability makes us uncomfortable. It just does. Makes us uncomfortable. One thing about these community nights that I've tried to create was even with the VP testimony nights, being a little bit more vulnerable about people's stories, but also seeing that side of them, but also on our other nights that we've created time to pray for each other and pray around each other. I'm trying to get myself to see the impact of what even a little bit of vulnerability can do when you become a little bit uncomfortable, but enough that it allows you to know that, hey, because I've made this connection, guess what? I'm stronger because I've made this connection. I'm stronger because I found somebody that because I've been hurt, because I have pride, because I fell into busyness, maybe that vulnerability can allow me to become stronger in those areas. And so maybe we don't want people knowing our business, right? Who has ever said to someone, mind your own business? Anybody ever said that? Anybody ever think that? Okay, that's probably better. No one probably said that, but you probably thought that in your brain to somebody. Can you just mind your own business? And sometimes in the context, it's probably right? There's probably a lot of context that needs to be said or thought or whatever, but when it comes to being connected with a group of people that are trying to strive together to be the kingdom, a community of believers, sometimes my business needs to be your business. Because it's my soul. I'm not saying it's got to be every one of your business, but maybe I need to find somebody that my business is their business. And so, anybody ever said, I can handle it myself? I'll just do it by myself. I don't need nobody. I do that a lot. But there's there's a moment in my life where I said I can't do it anymore by myself. And you'll hear some about that next week. But there's just moments where you come in your life where you're like, I just can't do it anymore by myself. I need somebody. I need help. And so, but needing other people necessarily isn't a sign. Okay, I want you to get this. Needing someone else's help, needing connection with people doesn't mean there's something wrong. Okay? All right, I want you to get that too. That needing other people isn't necessarily that something is wrong with us. Because God created us to live in connection and relationship. Just because you need somebody, just because you need accountability, just because you need a little bit more vulnerability, just because we need to be more connected as a church, doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. It's just the way that God designed it to be. And I think we need to follow that. And I think we do, but I think we can do better. And so we were. Anybody got any comments on that? Anybody got any criticism, anything? I can take it. All right, here's my next point. Surrounded. Let me say this, and I'll explain what I mean. Surrounded does not equal connected. Does that make sense? Surrounded does not always equal connected. Just because I come doesn't mean I'm connected. Just because you see someone here on Sunday morning or Wednesday night, don't assume that they feel connected. Those assumptions can cause someone to feel they can feel like, hey, I'm here, but no one sees me. So don't assume, but also don't assume that, hey, I saw so-and-so and I'm sure somebody talked to them. I'm sure somebody connected with them. And so surrounded doesn't always mean connected. If we read in Acts chapter 2, and a lot of times we go to this verse to talk about the early church, and it is a part of the early church, but we go to Acts 2, and we read about this relationship-based group of people starting. Okay, so if you go back to the 4 Acts, how was the church obviously was not started, but how was religion done in people's lives? Obviously, there was some type of connection with people, but how was the relationship with people and other believers? Somebody give me a brief. Okay, synagogue. So they would all go to the synagogue. Good. Okay, they'd meet up. Once a year, they would have what? Where would they go once a year? The temple. The day of Pentecost, they'd all come together. Passover. So they had these times they would come together. But now we see a shift from that to Acts in the early church was started, and it says in Acts chapter 2 that they were doing what? What were some things they were doing? Okay, giving thanks. Okay. Does anybody want to read that for me? Anybody got it? Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 47. Awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, so there are some words in here that talk about fellowship. Fellowship words. You obviously got the word fellowship. You got together, you got breaking bread, you got giving, you got homes, you got eating together, caring for each other's needs. Verse 46, it says, and day by day attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes. The early Christians had two things. They had the temple, still, but they also had the table. They had each other. Before I get into this, I want to make a disclaimer that I've wanted to say for a long time. I've said it to some individual, but not in a group of people. And if I'm wrong on this, please come tell me. Because I am wrong about a lot of stuff. All right. I'm a little passionate about this. I have been told for a long time, not a long time, but I've been told multiple times over especially after becoming a minister and becoming in ministry, hey, we just need to get back to the first century way of doing things. Anybody ever heard that? Okay. Do I believe some of that? Yeah. But what century are we living in? 21st. Correct. Part of that is, I knew that, but part of that is I was making sure I was correct. Okay. So at least you said it, not me. Okay. Yeah, 21st century. Yeah, so we live in the 21st century. So when people say we need to get back to the first century way of doing things, the first thing I think of is like, first of all, I don't live in the first century. So the way that they did things back then may not be is equivalent to the things that we're doing in the 21st century. Okay? And I get what people mean by that, and I'm on board with what they're saying. But guys, we live in the 21st century. We live in 2026. And there are ways that we have to find ways to be connected that they didn't have to figure that out. They were together daily. I don't see some of y'all, but on Wednesdays and Sundays. I live 50 minutes away from here. I drive 50 minutes every day. What I see here, if I am trying to do that and go straight from that and go, well, we need to be exactly that, is that going to work always? Some instances it can. If you find those groups, but what I want you to get is we have to still keep the foundation of, hey, we're a relational people. We need to stay connected, but how do we do it now that it works? How do we find ways to do it now that we are connected and saying, well, we just live in the... Here's another disclaimer. We can't go, well, we just live in a different century now. We're just not going to do it. We can't adapt that mindset either. But we got to find ways to stay connected. I know, in my opinion, that some of y'all are sitting here going, well, I'm connected. I know you are. I know you're connected. I know you find ways to stay connected here. I know that that's happening. But I want to tell you today, there are people that are not here today that want to be connected that we need to bring in. So I'm not really talking to some of you about being connected because you're here. You're connected. You're in part of Bible class. You're a part of eating here together. You're a part of that. But what I'm asking you for help is how do we get these people that don't feel like they're connected to become connected? How do we create ways to allow people to go, you know what, I want to be a part of that because I want to be connected. I want to feel that. I want to be a part of this. How do we do that? So, again, I am not telling you today that something is wrong with you. I'm saying there's something that I feel like is missing because we live not just, to me, not just people that are here in this 450 member congregation, or really about 600, but the numbers that meet here on Sunday. There are people here that want to be connected that just need to be asked. That just need to know that there are ways to be connected. And so I'm going to challenge us in a minute of ways to do that, but I wanted to make that disclaimer that yes, we read Acts and we go to that chapter and we go to that verse to go, okay, this is what it means to be connected. And I think that is correct. And I think we find foundational principles here. But also we got to know that, okay, if we try to look at this and go, well, we're just failing because we're not exactly being like this, that something is wrong. That's not true. We just got to find ways in 2026 and beyond that allow people to be connected. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't preach, but right. Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That was my husband that you were thinking of. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah. I had an incident like that. Someone didn't know me, and he's like, "Why do you always have a mad look on your face?" I'm like, "Mad look on my face? That's just my resting face. What are you talking about?" And they're like, and so I've tried to smile more ever since then. But I get it. If you don't know people, you can make assumptions, as we talked about before, and it's like assumptions usually are never good. And now sometimes your assumptions are true, but at least you will know that if you create a relationship. And so the early church had both. They had the temple, as they always had. They had the synagogue. But then this new thing was added. Hey, the table was added. This fellowship was added. And so they gathered in larger settings, but they also shared life in more personal settings. And guess what? They needed both. So we got that. We have that right here. Now, I would love to create smaller and share more, and maybe we'll do that. But also, we have that. But who's missing out on that? Who's missing out on this? You see, they needed both. We need both. You find that you need both. Let's just say this. Let's say Wednesday completely went away. How would you feel? What if Wednesday night meal went away? What if Bible class went away and we said we are no longer meeting on Wednesdays? We're just going to have one service on Sunday and that's it. How would you feel? Would there be an emptiness? Yep. Yep. And so what I'm saying is that we would feel that. If you put yourself in that, we would feel that. But who's feeling that right now? Now, I get it. It's their choice. We offer it, and they could come. But how many people are feeling that emptiness because they don't feel like they fit in or they have a place, or maybe they just don't know about it? Correct. Yeah. Yes. He said they need to be asked. Right. Okay. Yeah. And so there is something incredible important about us meeting together, and especially us at Vaughn Park as a family gathering together in these settings that we have. Okay, so we're not the only group that meets on Wednesday night. There are seven other groups that meet on Wednesday night. Did you know that? There are 7 other smaller groups that meet on Wednesday night. 7. Maybe you didn't know that. But there are 7 other opportunities that are available, especially starting in September when the ladies' Bible class meet again. There's that many opportunities. And so we're trying to create opportunities to do that, but also we have to be what 2 Corinthians, what Paul talks about, is that in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20, he says, we are ambassadors for Christ. I'm saying, let's use that same concept and let's be ambassadors for Vaughn Park. Especially on Wednesday night, where we can find relationship and we can find breaking bread together and we can find these things. Because I think it's important. Not just because we have numbers and we can say, oh, look at our Wednesday nights grew from whatever. It's not about that. It's about saying, look how many souls we have together. And yes, we may be meeting in smaller groups, but we're together and we're forming these relationships. And so there's something about that because we need gathering. We need that. But here, when you get to a size as even people, can hundreds of people deeply know hundreds of people? Let me ask that question. Can hundreds of people deeply know hundreds of people? Unless you're Paul Scott, can hundreds of people know hundreds of people? It's hard. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 Yeah. Right. And so we have so a dynamic, and I don't know if I was talking. I might have been talking to Rock. I don't know if I was talking to Roxy or not. Maybe I was talking. There's a dynamic, and at least what I have researched here and found out at Vaughn Park. There's a lot of that happens. I live 50 minutes away. Y'all live a good ways away. There are a lot of people. Over time, people have expanded, but they love Vaughn Park so much that they want to be here. Right? But their homes are 45 minutes, 30 minutes across town. So we have gotten we're still a family, but we've gotten further away, so it's sometimes harder to be connected. Yep. Right. 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 And so the thing is that again, hundreds of people deeply can't know hundreds of people. You can work at it and try, but realistically that's hard. But here's the thing. That's okay. That's okay. Because that's not feasible. But what is not feasible is that we go, well, I guess we just won't be connected. We'll just figure it out. You see, you don't need 100 best friends. You don't need everybody knowing everything about your life. But going back to what I said earlier, you don't need everybody to know you, but everybody needs someone to know them. And so we have to create that opportunity. And so I know we're running out of time. And so what I want to do is just encourage us to find that. And if you have an idea how to do that, I want to know about it. I want to challenge this group of people in this class. If you have an idea, tell me about it. But you don't even have to tell me about it, just do it. And so my idea, and hopefully we'll see it in September, is to create more of that connection. And I'm coming up with finding ways to do that, especially here on Wednesday nights, and hopefully I can present that soon. But I want to find more connection. I think we need it, but not just us. I think we have it in some form. But I think there are people that we could bring more in that need it. Does everybody agree with that? I hope we do. I'm challenging us to do that. I'm challenging us to have that. Because I love y'all, but I like more people. I like more people that could be connected. Okay? And so that's my challenge, is what does it mean to be known? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Right. Yes. If you couldn't hear it, she talked about intentionality. Be intentional about what you're doing. Like really matter, not just, well, I'm going to be intentional. How you doing? No, it's more than that. It's really investing and being intentional about that. So I want to close with this: is if I got to speak with God, I would ask Him, was your idea for the church to be hundreds of people, or even thousands of people? Because I visited a church a few weeks ago during the week, and they have a service during the week, and went and investigated some things that they were doing, just try to get ideas. And I worshiped with 3,000 people during the week. 3,000 people, and I'm like, this is overwhelming. I mean, how do you stay connected? And got 3,000 people stay connected. But I would ask God, how was your dream for a church to have hundreds or thousands of people just to sit in the same room once a week? I already know the answer. He would say no. I wanted them to be a family. I wanted them to call themselves a body. I wanted them to call themselves brothers and sisters. We do have a big gathering on Sunday morning. We need a big gathering. We're called for that, and we see that happening. But we also need the table. Right. Yep. And so here's my final challenge, and then we're gonna pray and get out of here. But I want you to ask the question to yourself. And I think some of us wouldn't answer this way, but I think there's a lot of people that may not be here tonight that are answering this way. Maybe the question is do I attend church, or I come to church, or I belong to this church. Maybe it's, am I actually sharing life with the church? Not is it church, but am I actually sharing life with the church? And some people, most of us will say, yes, I do that. But there's a lot of people that I'm challenging us to reach out to that can't say that. And the reason they can't say that is because maybe they're scared. Maybe they haven't been asked. Maybe they don't even know what's going on. Fill in the blank. And I think we are called to be those people that help them find that. We're those people that are like the people that carried their friend on the mat and lowered them through the roof. We're called to be mat carriers for people. And so, are we doing that? So, that's my challenge. Any other comment? Again, I do challenge you, and I said I'll do this at the end, but I do challenge you. If you're not in here and if you're not a part of a small group, I'd love to talk to you more about that. And if you're like, I don't know which one to join, let's start one. Let's create one. And so I really want to emphasize that, and not just because I want some more small groups and because I'm head of that and that makes me look better for having more small groups. That's not it. It's about, I want more connection. I want that for myself, but also want that for you, but also for people that aren't here. So let's pray together, and then we'll be dismissed. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord. We're so grateful that we can experience, and you gave us the chance to experience connection, because that's what we were created for. We were created for relationships. We weren't created to be alone. And Lord, I just thank you that you saw fit that people could be together in your name, that we could encourage each other and lift each other up in good times and bad. And I see that happening here at Vaughn Park all the time. I just want other people to experience that as well. And we just thank you for that, and help us to be intentional, and help us to invest in other people. And we ask this in Jesus' name.